post 1991, it is India adopted, we call it as the market-based economy by inculcation of policies called as liberalization, privatization and globalization. It is affordable. Not in India, that it is middle class is more. Now middle class jasti daga. Will they provide the goods at costlier prices, or will they provide at it is moderate prices? The next one we call it as, how does it differ from a command economy? Command economy andre no. And the second one, majority of the wealth is being concentrated in where? The metropolitan areas and urban areas. Now this employment, don't you think it gives rise to wages or salaries? This salaries will bring in, I can say, the out of poverty the people. Okay. So is that? Yes. The second topic we call it as market economy. Now, what do you mean by market and what do you mean by economy? What is market and what is economy andre? Now, market andre, it is market andre as simple as that. It is production, distribution and supply. Works on what principles? It is production, distribution and supply. Works on a principle called as demand and supply. Okay, economy andre, it's a mode of, I can say it's a mode of, we call it as principles, or it's a principle where I can say the production, distribution and supply works on. The works on, we call it as demand and supply. Okay. The first one we call it as economy and market. Now market and renu sir anta kelidre, as simple as that, there is a existence of private players. Now this private players undertakes production, distribution and supply. Production, distribution and supply of the different goods and services. Based on what approach? Based on, we call it as based on demand and supply. Demand and supply. Now this market economy is also called as what? This is also called as the capitalist economy. This is also called as the capitalist economy. It is also called as what? It is Washington consensus. Why it is called as Washington consensus? Because it is majorly followed in where? It is majorly followed in a countries called as Yav countries ali? Western countries. Majorly followed in Western countries. And because of this thing, it is also called as capitalist economy. Capitalist economy or Washington consensus. As simple as that, market economy. There is an existence of private players. With existence of private, can I say it is a limited government intervention? Limited government intervention. Now, limited government intervention, we call it as open economy, or it is also called as laissez-faire economy. It is also called as simple as that, it is laissez-faire economy. It is nothing but it works on the free and fair manner without the involvement of the government. We call it as the market economy. It is also called as liberal economy. It is also called as open economy. It is also called as Washington consensus. Yene question kelidru ella same. It works on a medium called as the demand and supply melege will be producing the goods and services. Yes or no? Example kodtira? Examples of market economy. It is examples which includes post 1991. The post 1991 economy nodadadre. It is the post 1991 Indian economy, majorly focusing upon what? Majorly focusing upon an economic activity where it is production, and I can say production, demand and supply. It is based on demand and supply. So demand and supply melege antandre, don't you think they work on an objective called as profit oriented objective? How do you know? Market the objective enili. It is market objective, we call it as the profit oriented objective. They works on a, I can say, motto called as the profit oriented motto. Now the profit oriented motto antandre, will the cost of the goods, should it be higher or lesser irbeku? Now lesser antandre, now profit beku andre goods must be lesser in cost. Now lesser cost irbeku antandre, don't you think there must be higher innovation, higher technological inculcation, followed by higher, we call it as advancement, we call it as managerial skills in the kriti. higher managerial skills must also be there. Now, sir, idella okay. Now, in this capitalist economy or market economy, does it lead to social justice? Does it lead to social justice? Okay, ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ ನೋ ಅಂತಂದ್ರಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೊಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. Now, don't you think this industries will lead to it is creation of employment? Now, this employment, don't you think it gives rise to wages or salaries? This salaries will bring in, I can say, the out of poverty the people. How they low? It is whatever you said was right, but partial social justice tarata, but not a complete social justice. But not the complete social justice. Sir, complete social justice taralla andre yav tara sir anta kelidre, the major one we call it as yav social justice. Now think about they produce a goods which are in demand. They does not produce what? Basic and essential goods na produce madalla avaru. Take an example of we call it as food items. Take an example of health. Take an example of education. Will they produce or will they give it at, I can say, affordable price, or will they provide it at the, I can say, it is a demanded price? Nothing but is market economy in its fullest form, is it good? It is. We call it as, understand here, the first and foremost one, it is our economy is working on, it is demand and supply melegem, nothing but based on profit. My motto is clear. My motto is profit. Now, profit beku antandre, will I sell my products? It is to the one who are in a capacity to buy, one who are in a position to buy that products, or will I provide it to the vulnerable sections? It is yaru kodtivi. Nothing but one who are able to procure. You think that it is watch. The Titan watch anta ankoona. Now, Titan watch, will they, I can say, produce at an affordable prices, or will they provide it free of cost to the, it is vulnerable sections? Tolrappa ನೀವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೀವು ದೊಡ್ಡವರಾಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ, or will I give it at the affordable prices? It is affordable. ನೋಡಿ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ it is middle class is more. Now, middle class ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ will they provide the goods at costlier prices, or will they provide at the, it is moderate prices? Moderate. Nothing but num range estappa antandre, nothing but in and around some 5,000 to 10,000 rupees per watch. Ashtu adike jaasti adu en ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Nothing but selling prices, or I can say the number of goods selling will automatically come down, or it becomes what? Unaffordable. Now, unaffordable adre, will the profit for a company, will it be higher or lesser? Lesser. Now, sir, if you want to make the products at a cheaper cost, don't you think my input cost must be lesser? My input cost must be lesser. Now, what do you mean input cost? Input cost includes, it is the land, labor, the capital, and we call it as entrepreneurship. The capital and entrepreneurship. Now, land mele rent must be lesser. Whereby labor cost should be lesser. Wages kadme irbeku, rent or wages or salaries must be lesser. Interest rate kadme irbeku on the capital. For my fourth one, the profit on the entrepreneurship kadme idre, the price, or I can say the number of, I can say the selling cost will be more, or the number of, I can say the goods, the selling or the sold will be higher. Yes or no? Yes. All those things are the main objective of market economy. First thing here is, will they focus on social justice, sir? Antandre no, partial social justice. Second one, will they care about environment? Or will they start to go for huge degradation of environment? It is huge degradation. They'll never bother about environment. It is air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution. They'll never bother. But their main motto is what? Only profit. And profit beku ashte. At the cost of anything. At the cost of any thing. Yes. Now, will they bother about society, the vulnerable societies? Will they bother about the tribals who are living in the forest areas? Will they bother about environment? No. Okay, alva. But market economy beka sir namge anta kelidre beku. Why? Because it brings in technology, it brings in capital, FDI, FPI, it brings in innovation, it brings in managerial skills, it also brings in, we call it as efficiency also. But negative challenges ಏನು ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, it is environmental degradation. The employees are being exploited at the lower wages or under wages. Recent statements ನೋಡಿದ್ವಲ್ವಾ? Nothing but it is 70 hours work culture, 90 hours work culture by L&T, the Subramaniam, or we call it Narayan Murthy. Nothing but they are what? It is market-based economics. Nothing but their agenda ಏನili. Their agenda is profit ಬೇಕು ನಾನು. ನನಗೆ profit ಬೇಕು at the cost of health of the employees. Now, can we call this as ethical, I can say, business practices? No. Nothing but their ideology is simple. Nothing but nee work madi at the cost of me. Nothing but I need to increase the profit. I need to become rich. Now to become rich, you need to work hard. Is this good in countries like India? No. Nothing but what should be our strategy? Now our strategy should be nothing but ethical market-based decisions. Ethical market economy should be inculcated. Nothing but sustainable economy should be grown. Nothing but balancing environment with the economy. It is balancing the societal rights versus it is profit. This balance should be established as a part of our market economy. Iveಲ್ಲ connect ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Nothing but no matter what, ಯಾರ business man ಆಗಿರಲಿ, nothing but if they are going at a cost of the life, if they are going at a cost of their environment, if they are going at a cost of the society, automatically such practices are unethical. I can say, and this has also been criticized even by Gandhi also. Now the capitalist should act as a trustee of the vulnerable categories than exploiting them. ಅಂತ ಹೌದು ಇಲ್ವೋ? ಈಗ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ದಟ್ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಎ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲಿಸ್ಟ್, ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ದ್ಯಾನ್ ಮ್ಯೂಚುವಲಿಸ್ಟಿಕ್. Don't you think such practices will not withstand a time? Don't you think that will not withstand a longer time periods? Now that will only be, I can say, satisfying only the short-term needs than the long-term needs. That is not good for economy also. Adukoskar a topic has been added as a part of your society. Because this leads to ಏನೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? This leads to rich and urban divide ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Rich and a poor, and a second one urban and a rural divide. Because concentration of the wealth will take place under which one? Under we call it as profitability, or can say the profit maximization, or we call it as capitalists will start to gain more profit. Nothing but ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ recent Oxfam report ಪ್ರಕಾರ, according to recent Oxfam report 2023 report ಪ್ರಕಾರ, the 10% of the population they are holding, it is 77% of wealth anta. It is 77% of the wealth. This population in Mikiddo, 90% of the population they are holding how much? 23%. Don't you think this is a clear denotion of what? It is clear. It is, we call it as analysis of rich and poor divide. Inequalities is huge. And this inequalities hugeness has been brought in by the market economy after 1991 LPG reforms. And the second one, majority of the wealth has been concentrated in where? The metropolitan areas and the urban areas. Take an example, it is taken example of the Bengaluru and we call it Shumogga. Bengaluru and North Karnataka, Bengaluru and Kalyana Karnataka, Bengaluru and Belgaum Karnataka. Yes or no? Adu kuda, it is Bengaluru, it is Purti, or I can say South Karnataka is not completely developed. But Chamarajanagar kogi, huge poverty. Nothing but concentration of wealth is being concentrated only in the few hands and only in few regions. And that regions we call it as urban disparities. Rural urban disparities, the rich poor disparities, the regional disparities. Because of what? Because of concentration of wealth by the profits, or we call it as the capitalist. Yes or no? Ee varsha example question kedila keli. The work-life balance. Nothing but your statement band takshana, automatically that will be your essay topic. It is work-life balance. Now, endra ಬಗ್ಗೆ follow ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Is it, should I need to focus on wealth, or sorry, should I need to focus on work, or should I need to focus on life? ಯಾವ್ದು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? It is both. It is both. But I can say it is whenever you are going for, I can say the weekly work culture, maximum you should work for 48 hours. ನೀವು ಸ್ಟಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್ 16 ಅವರ್ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದೀನಿ ಅಂತ. ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ನೀನು ಓದು, ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮಂತ್ ಅಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀನು ಬುಕ್ ಮುಚ್ಚಿಟ್ಟು ಗಂಟು ಮೂಟೆ ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ. ವೈ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಐಡಿಯಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟು ಓದಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಇಸ್ 8 to 10 hours. And while reading about this 8 to 10 hours, go for efficiency rather than working for number of hours. Then 16 hour 18 hour ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಬದಲು go for efficiency. Let us have some targets. ಈ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಈ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಗುರು ಅಂತ. ಹೌದಾ ಇಲ್ವೋ? ಎಸ್. ಸಿ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ರಾದರ್ ದನ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ ಅ ಸಿಂಗಲ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೋರ್ ಅವರ್ಸ್, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯ್ ದ ಅದರ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್. ಹೌದಾ ಇಲ್ವ? ಈಗ ಒಬ್ಬನಿಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬನ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 12 ಅವರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಬದಲು ಇಬ್ಬರನ್ನ 6 ಅವರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ. ಎಸ್ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ 6 ಅವರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ, ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಸ್ಯಾಲ್ರಿ ಕಡಿಮೆನೆ ಕೊಡಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ, 2 ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿ ಬದುಕತ್ತೆ. ಹೋಪ್ ಯು ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್? ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ಈವನ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ಫೋಸ್ ಅಂತ ಅನ್ಕೋಣ. ಇನ್ಫೋಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ಇನ್ಫೋಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ದ ರೇಂಜ್ ಇಸ್ 14,000 to 28,000 is the range of salaries one are getting in Infosys. It is 14,000 to 18,000 maximum range ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 18 to sorry it is maximum ranges 18,000, ಬಟ್ ಈ ರೇಂಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಆವರೇಜ್ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅಪ್ರಾಕ್ಸಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ 18 to 20K is the average salary of I can say per month. ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲೂ ಇಷ್ಟು ಕೊಡೋ 18-20 ಸಾವಿರದಲ್ಲಿ 12 ಅವರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತೆ. ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅನ್ಎಥಿಕಲ್. ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ? ಎಸ್. ಇದು ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಅವ್ರ ಎಂಟಿಗೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಡ್. See, I'm not against any company, but it is bad. You having double standards is bad ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮನೇಲಿ ಏನು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಂಟಿ ನೋಡಿಯೋದು, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಮರ್ಯಾದೆ ಕೊಡದಿರೋದು, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕಲಿ ಶೋಯಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಓಕೆ ಸೋ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಫುಲ್. See, that does not make sense, and that is double standards of your ethical standards. Yes or no? Recent ಆಗಿ ಮೈಸೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಸ್ ನೋಡಿ. ಮೈಸೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಸ್ ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ವಿತೌಟ್ ಗಿವಿಂಗ್ ಎ ನೋಟಿಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ ದ ಲೇ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. I can say 3,000 members has been laid off. ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ವಾ? as being a parliamentarian and being a I can say ethical activist, the social activist. Yes or no? Don't you think all such things should be known to you? Obviously ಅದೇ ಆಗತ್ತದು. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಬೇಡ ಗುರು ಯಾಕು? ನಾನು ಅದೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋದು. ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ರಾದರ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಿಂಗ್ ದ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ಸ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಅಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಟು ILO ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಕಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಸ್ಫುಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಅಂತೆ. And already we are exceeding 48 hours work culture which has been given by ILO. ನೋಡಿ 48 ಗಂಟೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 48 hours ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಅವರ್ ಪರ್ ವೀಕ್? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಪರ್ ಡೇ. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 8 hours. 8 hours for how many days? It is 6. It is 8 into the 6 hours. It is 4 days a week. ಹೌದು, it is not only Japan, the France also. It is majorly Western countries. ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಸ್ಟ್ರೇಲಿಯಾ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ ಆಸ್ಟ್ರೇಲಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಯೋರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಅವರ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಯು ವಿಲ್ ನೆವರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯೋರ್ ಕಂಪನಿ. ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದಟ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸಮ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ, ಅದು ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಸಿ ಗುರು, ಈಗ ನನಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಇದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋತೀನಿ, ನಂಗೆ 15 ಅವರ್ 20 ಅವರ್ ನಾನೇ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಬಟ್ ದಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ವಾಲಂಟ್ರಿ. ಬಟ್ ದಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ನೆವರ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಟ್ ಅ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ಸ್. ಸೇಯಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗ್ಲೇಬೇಕು, 12 ಅವರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲೇಬೇಕು. ಎಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೋ? ಎಸ್. And ILO ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ? It is ILO has clearly clarified saying that it is India is facing a huge stressful conditions because of work culture. Now they are not following 8, I can say to 6 days. Rather we are going for it is 7 days and some 10 hours per day. Other majority ಏನಾಗ್ತಿದೆ? Nothing but because of traffic, it is the time consumption is also increasing. ಹೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು 2 hour, ಬರಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು 2 hour, ಟೋಟಲಿ 6 hour, sorry ಟೋಟಲಿ 8 hour. 8 plus 4 ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ? Nothing but 12 hours. ಇದು ಹೊರಡಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ, ಮತ್ತೆ ರೆಡಿ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಮ್ ಹಾಫ್ ಅನ್ ಅವರ್. ಟೋಟಲಿ ವಿ ಆರ್ ವರ್ಕಿಂಗ್ 15 hours. ಬಟ್ ಇನ್ ಮಿಗದೆಷ್ಟು 8 hour ನಿದ್ದೆ ಮಾಡೋದಾಗ ಬೇಡ ನಾವು. ಅಂಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿನ್ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ಮೀ, ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ಡ್ ಬೈ ILO ಇನ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ಸ್. ನೌ ದಿಸ್ ಲೀಡ್ಸ್ ಟು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ದ ನಾನ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕಬಲ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಟು ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್. ಹೌದಾ ಇಲ್ವೋ? ನಾನ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕಬಲ್ ಡಿಸೀಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಮೆಂಟಲ್ ಟ್ರಾಮಾಸ್ ಆರ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ ಸೈಕೋ ಆಗೋದು. Yes or no? That leads to again social disorganization. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರೆ infertility, perfect. Social and suicide rates, divorce rates will increase. The single parents will start to automatically increase. ಹೌದಾ ಇಲ್ಲೋ? All this. ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ವಿಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತಾವೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. Yes or no? See, ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಫೋಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. I am not against any person, but do you think we need to have some I can say ethics? ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ILO ರಿಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ? ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು ಗುರು. ಅವ್ರು ಬೀಯಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಸಚ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಒನ್ ಡೇ ಬಿ ನೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿಸ್. ಇದು ಇದಾದ್ರೂ ಓಕೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇಸ್ L&T chairman has said that it is 90 hours, and he has given a statement saying that see I am feeling ashamed that I am not able to work on Sundays or work you on Sundays ಅಂತ. ಅವ್ರು ಅದೇ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಮೀಡಿಯಾಲ್ ಬಂದು saying that it is I am ashamed and I am ashamed saying that I am not able to work my employees on Sundays. 90 hours ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಡೇ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ವರ್ಕ್ ಫಾರ್ 12 hours. ಸೊ 90 ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೋಡಿ ಲ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಲ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಅಚ್ಚಾ ಸಿ ಬರ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ಲಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಲ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಹಾಸ್ ಬಿನ್ ರಿಮೂವ್ಡ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬಾಳ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ನಮ್ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸೇ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ನ ಕೂಡ ಹಾಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಬಟ್ ಟು ಸಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಲ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಹಾಸ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಸಮ್ ರಿಫಾರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ ತಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ವರ್ಕ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಗುಡ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಬಟ್ ಆಲ್ ಸಚ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ 90 hours ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ 7 hours ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆರ್ 7 days ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೌ ಮೆನಿ hours 12 ಗಂಟೆ ಅಂತೆ 12 ಗಂಟೆ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಟ್ರಾಫಿಕ್ ಒಂದು 2 4 ಆಯ್ತು 16 ಪ್ಲಸ್ ರೆಡಿ ಆಗೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು 2 hour ಹುಡುಗಿರಾದ್ರೆ ಕೆಳಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 3 hour 17 hour ಮಲಗದೆ ಮಲಗ್ತೀರ ಮತ್ತೆ ಓಕೆ ಗೋಯಿಂದ ಓಕೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ automatically I'll never I can say go for an employment itself nothing but the female or the labor force participation rate will still drop example keltare be cautious it is the work life balance idukon ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪಾಯಿಂಟರ್ಸ್ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ work life the balance anta work beka life beka anta nothing but I need both because it is to sustain the life I want work but not at the cost of life itself but not at the cost of the life itself yes or no see work ಮಾಡೋರು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ನಾನು ವಾಲಂಟರಿ ನಾನು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ because I don't have any pressure I don't have any targets because of my voluntariness I'll work but ಯಾರೋ ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಸನ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ 12 hour it is ಆಫೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರಬೇಕು ನೀನು and it is mandatory agi you need to meet that target don't you think I'll face some I can say mental traumas na mental trauma adre enagutte it is first and foremost one year is the targets leads to mental trauma the mental trauma adre don't you think personal life gets impacted nothing but relationship between me and the parents will get impacted me and my I can see it is siblings will get impacted me and my we call it a wife or me and my children or me and the relatives will start to I can see it is the degrade and that degradation leads to anagata that degradation leads to the social degradation or we call it as the disorganization some topic already we have discussed social disorganization will start to increase now social disorganization increase adre enagata the social unrest now social unrest adre law and order problem now law and order problem adre nothing but national security gets impacted now national security adre it is unity and security of the country gets impacted then adukoskara it is our words are so precious it is word once such it will have more impact than ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ನೋಡ್ಬಿಡಿ ಅವ್ರು ಮರ್ತೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಬಟ್ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೊಡಿ ನಾರಾಯಣ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವ್ರ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ದ ಶೇರ್ಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡ್ರಾಪ್ಡ್ and trust on the Infosys are dropped and this statement has not even supported by ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಅವರು ಬೇರೆ ಕಂಪನೀಸ್ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ and I can say Anand Mahindra has clearly given a statement saying that it is I'm not supporting such statements rather we need to go for efficiency rather we need to go for innovation rather we need to go for hiring the other persons in India because we have huge population how do you know it is a person becoming richer and richer it is give it and ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು CEOs ನಾವು ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ 16 hours ಅಂತ and he has countered saying that you are CEO and you are the boss and you are getting so much of salary and you are getting 1 CR 2 CR per month but ಅವರು ಕೊಡಿ 2 CR 3 CR ಅವರು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ yes or no yes ಇದೆಲ್ಲ counter statements you need to be ready the positives negatives the balance should be there and always be cautious here it is you being a civil servant you should always focus on efficiency you should focus on ethicality you should focus on compassionate grounds rather than I can say making profits okay alva yes it gothirli okay alva this is all about the market economy now ಇಲ್ಲಿ question talks about ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ discuss the concept of market economy see heading clear ಆಗಿ heading ಕೊಡಬೇಕು introduction ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಯೋದಲ್ಲ introduction should be now ಇವಾಗ exam ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದರೂ it is market economy ಅಂತ question ಕೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ now can I add it as a part of introduction no now introduction ಹೆಂಗಪ್ಪ ಬರಿಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ you should talk about some current affairs or context now current affairs or context ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ now it is the post 1991 it is India adopted we call it as the market based economy by inculcation of policies called as liberalization privatization and globalization by focusing more on I can say encouragement of the private players than the government involvement in decision making okay na context ಆಯ್ತು and ಬಾಡಿಲಿ ಬರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬಾಡಿಲಿ ಹೆಡಿಂಗ್ ಏನ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ಇಲ್ಲಿ It is body ನಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಹೆಡಿಂಗ್ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ it is concept of market economy. The concept of market economy in the first heading. ನಾವು ಅದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಎಕಾನಮಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಬರೀತಿರಾಗ ಅದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು 4 ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್. ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಎಕಾನಮಿ? ಫೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 4 ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ ಎಕಾನಮಿ ಇದು. ಒನ್ ವಿ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಸ್ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಆನ್, ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸಿ ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಪ್ಲೇಯರ್ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ಮೆಂಟ್, innovation ಇರುತ್ತೆ, efficiency focus, good work culture, profit maximization, autonomy, works on demand and supply. 1000 ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಬರೀಬಹುದು ಇದಕ್ಕೆ, ಬಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರೀಬೇಡಿ, some 3 or 4 points sufficient. The next one we call it as how does it differ from a command economy? Command economy ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Nothing but state owned economy. Nothing but state owned economy. The next heading will be how does it differ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಕಥೆ ಬರೀಬಾರ್ದಲ್ಲಿ, ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲಿ. Now, whenever you are going for differences, the mandatory one here is you need to add parameters. Definition, examples, follow ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. For by who will be controlling this? For by what is the advantage of this? It is parameters. Done. Adadmele command capitalist. Bariboda. It is the second literally the differences, and the third one will be analyze the advantages and disadvantages of market economy. Now, first you will give an heading called as advantages of market economy. But advantages andre nothing but innovation will start to increase, followed by I can say production of goods at the lower costs, brings in foreign investment, followed by efficiency ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, followed by we call it as quality products, innovative products, upgradation on continuous manner, it is timely delivery services, competition. But negatives ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ what are the negatives? Negatives which includes it is social justice gets impacted. The next one we call it as I can say exploitation of workers, environmental not been protected adequately. The fourth one we call it as negligence of we call it as MSMS. And then lastly it is way forward, nothing but it is I can say in India there need to be a balance between the social justice and we call it as the market economy or profit maximization. Now to achieve this it is there need to be a sustainable growth. Examples like it is focusing on PPP approach, focusing on CSR norms, the focusing upon I can say new public management. Now by this the Indian democracy can achieve egalitarian, followed by inclusive growth, followed by sustainable economy can be the it is way ahead ಅಂತ. Yes, ಇದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ತಗೊಂಡು you should think ಏನ್ ಬರಿಬೋದು ಅಂತ. ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಬರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ it is free ಆಗಿದ್ದಾಗ you should take a question and you should think what can be the questions, what can be the answers, all those things. Okay, now done. This is all for today.